Welcome to the Ultimate Property Management Virtual Masterclass. This is part 3, hosted by Real Estate Investor. And today's third masterclass of 2021 is officially sponsored by WeconnectU, developers of intelligent property management software to enable you to scale and deliver more value to your clients. My name is Neil Peterson. I'm the founder of Real Estate Investor, South Africa's leading independent digital real estate platform for over 14 years already, geared for investors, landlords, developers, property practitioners, and entrepreneurs. Topic for this morning is the ultimate business accelerator, the property management business plan. So please welcome Johann Van Der Merwe.
All right, so I've got the honor to speak about the ultimate business accelerator today. I'm going to start by maybe just asking the question and answering the question is why another property manager masterclass, especially in this exceptionally busy time of the year. So first of all, WeconnectU has got a very, very clear focus into help to transform the property management industry and making it more compliant, more manageable, scalable, and ultimately more profitable. And yes, we do obviously offer the technology to help all our clients, but we've quickly realized that the technology is a critical part of your success, but it's not the only answer. And we started in the beginning of this year with the first property management masterclass to help our clients build best practices within their business to unlock the value and communicate that value to their clients and ultimately achieve their dream of building the perfect property management business. So in our journey as ex-property managers, the concept of a business plan has been critical and key to our success. Also in our company as WeconnectU, we obviously announced 2 months ago that we've reached 500,000 units after a very short space of time. And all of this, let's call it success, or let's call it success, we attribute it to a single factor, and that's the way we think and we do business. We obviously have the honor to speak with amazing property managers every single day and learn from them about best practice that they implement. And we can clearly see the difference between people implementing certain type of thinking in their business compared to some other property managers. And as Michael alluded to, the more admin-orientated property managers versus the value-orientated property managers. So I'm going to start off by asking the first Mentimeter question to you. If I'm going to ask you today, what is that one thing that you think is standing in your way to fast track the growth of your company? So just to kind of rehearse, there is a Mentimeter QR code was shared as well as a code in the chat box. You can now go into that and there the question will be live and it's an open-ended question. And I just really want you to share what is the first thing that comes to mind that you would say is standing in your way to fast track the growth of your company. Now, there's an amazing book that was written, and hopefully some of you have read this. The book was the EMyth. And in that book, the author, Michael Gerber, said that one of the biggest reasons why people are struggling to effectively scale and fast track the growth in the business is that they are stuck in their business, meaning they are not working on their business, but more are working in their business. And maybe some of you can associate with that today. I can tell you as an entrepreneur that it is one of the biggest challenges that any entrepreneur face. And yes, especially when you start a new business, you always are going to be not only on, but definitely in your business at the start. But unless you've got a clear plan to get you out of there, most businesses stays, like the EMyth says, Joe's Barbershop, because Joe is the barber. So Neil quoted Benjamin Franklin. He stole my quote earlier in his opening, but it's a fact. Ladies and gentlemen, unless you plan to get out of working in your business and plan to start working on your business, you will never get out of it. And if we speak to potential or current clients and ask them how they're doing, the answer is always, we are exceptionally busy, especially the business owners or the principals. And yes, obviously it's fantastic to hear that you are busy, but most of the time, if we ask them what they're busy with, it is activities that typically relates to working in the business and not on the business. And I think, like I said, It is one of the most difficult things to do, especially if you're a young entrepreneur and you're starting to build your business. You don't have the resources to appoint 5 or 10 people to do all the to-dos. Plus, you have to train them. Potentially all the IP sitting with you as the starter of the business owner. And yes, there will always be a journey to get there, to start working more on your business and in the business. The question is, how does that plan look? And how do you compile that plan to ultimately start effectively working on your business and effectively scale your business to really build what you always want to build? And that plan is the topic for today. That plan to effectively, going forward, working on your business and not in your business is what we call the ultimate property management business plan. Now, as the slide shows, it could be quite a daunting task. There's a lot of things that you have to take into account in the business plan. But what I like about the slide, which is really the belief I have, this is our true north in business. If you have compiled a very comprehensive business plan, you can properly this should be your guiding stick during every year, helping you to navigate through change or transformation, like Michael alluded to, and making sure that the right activities, the right people, and the right plans are in place to effectively seize all opportunities that the market poses, or mitigate potential risks or changes that the market is going to give you. Now, we asked the question in our preliminary questions to you. We asked the question, first of all, do you have a business plan? And secondly, what is the main reason for those of you who said no, why don't you have a business plan? So first of all, we've got about slightly more clients attending that said, no, I don't have a business plan. And the other, let's say 40% said, yes, I do. So of those who said, no, I don't have a business plan, what is the main reason why you don't have a business plan? And this is the answer. First of all, I don't know how to write one. Obviously, never had the privilege to be actually shown or be educated about the business plan guideline. Or maybe it takes too much of my time, which is I'm going to challenge today. And then the last, obviously, I don't think is really going to help me. So first of all, for those of you who said, I don't know how to write one, hopefully after today, we will give you amazing insights about how to write the business plan. Secondly, if you think it's taking too much of your time, I promise you, this is the way you get time. And the last one, I don't really think it's going to help me. Out of personal experience and also experience in the market, I can tell you that this is the thing that's really going to help you start to step out of your business, meaning not working in your business every single day and you driving the value, but actually working on your business and almost just orchestrating the perfect growth and fast tracking of the growth of your company to build what you ultimately wanted to build. Now, let's start with the question, I don't know how to write one. You know, the obvious thing is, hey man, let's get a consultancy firm in and let's see if they can assist us to build the perfect business plan for our business. Now, I had the privilege in working in a multinational corporate where we could actually phone a consulting firm to help us with these kind of things. And I realized firsthand that what they do is they come into your business, and again, I really believe there's a place for consulting firms, but they come into your business, they ask you a lot of questions, they write down the answers you give them, and they give that back as a report as the answer to your problem. And the point I want to make here, ladies and gentlemen, is I really believe every single person in today's session is fully equipped to actually write the business plan. All that we're going to give you guys today is a structure and help you to critically ask some key questions, to properly analyze your market and put together the perfect business plan for your business. Because I'm pretty confident that there's no two businesses in the specific, in the exact same place on their business growth where their plan would look the same. But what will typically look the same is the structure and the questions you have to answer to be able for you and your team to put together the perfect business plan. So if I have to walk into a business today as a potential consultant, I'm pretty confident that the following questions will quite easily be answered. If I ask anyone, and let's just say Michael is a client today, if I ask Michael today, what is it that you want to build? I'm pretty confident he's going to be able to give me an answer. And that typically would be his vision. But the question I've got here is, does every single person in the company, if they're asking the same question, would they answer the same answer or give them the same answer? Meaning, kind of confirming that everybody in the office have a clear vision and know precisely what they want to build and where they want to end. Next up, if I ask Michael, so precisely what is it that you offer the market? He's going to say, well, I manage properties. Might be sectional title HOA, or it might be residential or commercial letting. But offering what to that market might not always be that easy. So if I ask you, so precisely what is your value proposition? Hopefully, every single person in the office will have the same answer, but more importantly, that answer of the value proposition, the service, will be unique compared to your competitors. Next up is, how do you actually daily construct or deliver this service to your clients, making sure that what you promise is actually delivered in a daily manner? Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to answer, which obviously refers to their business model. But will every single person again in the company be able to give the same answer? Next up is, what is it you would like to achieve this year? Probably the business owner might say, well, I want to achieve these three things. Again, that's every single person in the company that's helping you to construct this value, helping you to build this value, know precisely what they're aiming for. If they wake up in the morning and they go to the office, does every single person know precisely what activity do they have to be able to achieve strategic goals, and making sure that those key activities drive the value that the business would like to achieve. And lastly, is there a budget? Obviously, we're all in to hopefully make some profit at the end of the year. Have you allocated the adequate resources financially and non-financially to be able to drive all this value to the top? Now, again, if I speak to most business owners and ask these questions, they will give me very good answers. The challenge is, does the whole team know precisely what, are the whole team precisely aligned with that vision or the value proposition or the goals? And in most cases, the answer is no, because in most cases, all these answers are not documented in what we call the ultimate property management business plan. So to let the rabbit out of the hat, how does this plan look, and how do I actually construct this plan? Going through precisely, let's call it the chapters or the key areas that the ultimate property management business plan should consist of. So we started off with the market overview, company overview, strategic objectives. Next up is the SWOT analysis. Everybody, that's obviously a familiar term for most people. Some people are quite scared of precisely what to write down there. I'll get back to that in a moment. Then the critical success factors. So I think after probably the market overview, the second most important thing is deciding on those critical things that you're going to be focusing on to execute in the next year to ensure your success. Then the key activities, what are those things I'm going to physically do to address or achieve those critical success factors? And then lastly, ultimately, the critical thing is the financials. What do I need to put in place financially to make sure that I can actually drive all those key activities? And will all those key activities actually ultimately provide me some profit at the end of the year? So let's dive just briefly into some of the segments. So in a moment, Toby is going to give us some detail precisely how to analyze your market and those critical questions that you have to answer. I think the point I would like to make in this slide is the most important thing to understand and to remember while you are doing the market overview and going through these various topics that Toby will analyze or discuss with you in a moment, is you are currently looking outside your company. You're doing an external bit of paralysis by analysis, market understanding. And the idea here is, once you've gone through these topics, answered the questions which Toby will give you in a moment, you should be a market specialist or expert in your area of the service and the value you would like to drive. No one should know more about your market and your clients and your competitors than you. And this is simply going through this guided process, which again, Toby will allude to in a moment a little bit more, answering the key questions. And the ultimate thing here is understanding your client better than he understands himself. If you've done this effectively, you would properly understand how to position your business to effectively address the client needs and mitigate potential risks or threats that the market might pose. Next up, And Donnie also will discuss the scenario analysis with you in his presentation. Next up is the company overview. Again, more the topic will be discussed in more detail during Skalk's presentation. But ultimately now we've got an inward look. Again, some paralysis by analysis, but you go through the same couple of topics, but now looking internally into your company. And ultimately, at the end of this company overview, you would like to be able to put together the ultimate business model that will effectively communicate a certain value and deliver a certain value to your market, differentiating yourself from your competitors and driving value for you, obviously, in the bottom line. So again, Skalk, Tubi, and Donnie is going to go into slightly more detail, giving you all those key questions that you're going to ask yourself and critically answer to be able to provide a proper analysis of your market as well as your company. Once you've done that, ultimately, you would like to be put in a position to do a SWOT analysis. Now, critically, during your market overview and your company overview, you're going to subconsciously actually construct the SWOT analysis already. Because the first section of your SWOT analysis is your strengths and weaknesses. And that's ultimately looking internally, the company overview, looking at what are you better than compared to your customers. So it is a question, what am I doing that I'm better than my customer? If you're doing the same than your customer, it's obviously not a strength. So what are you doing that is better than any of your customers? And what do your competitors, and what is your competitors are doing that you believe that they are better at, which is obviously a weakness for you. So to write down your strengths and your weaknesses, it's looking internally and looking at what are you better at, not the same, better at than your competitors, or what do you potentially have some weak spots compared to your competitors. Maybe their team size is better. Maybe their office location is better. Maybe they offer more services. And that's typically that you'll be writing down as weaknesses. Looking externally, this should provide you with your opportunities and threats. And Donnie and Tubi is going to give you a nice guide about the typical questions to ask to properly understand what opportunities are there in the market, or to understand how to discover them. And the same to potentially identify threats that's going to be posing a threat for your business in the coming year potentially. So critically, market overview, company overview, and then after your strategic objectives, you'll be doing a SWOT analysis. And this is how easy it is to construct, looking at what you've already done in the market overview and what you've already done in your company overview. Now that you've got your market overview, your company overview, you've done your SWOT analysis, it is now to say, what am I going to focus on in the next year? Because there's potentially 100 things you would like to do, but there's only a few things that you can do. And obviously, the less they are, the better. And we call these your critical success factors for your business. Typically, there are hopefully not more than 8, but between 3 and 5 or 6 things that you're going to focus all your attention on in the next year to make sure that if you nail something, you nail these things. And these things, these critical success factors, will be driving you to ensure you achieve your strategic objectives. Now, as an example, again, there could be a couple of these. I would like to make sure I increase the size of my rental portfolio, which is a critical success factor for your business in the next year. They typically will be followed by critical of key activities that will be addressing that specific critical success factor. And that is typically, and if I can just mention 3 as example, I'm going to increase the number of rental agents to do more canvassing and hopefully bring in more stock. Or I actually want to really fast track my growth. I'm going to buy some rental books. Or maybe I can see based on my SWOT analysis that my value proposition is not as good as my competitors, or I actually now understand my client better. And if I just change my value proposition slightly, I will potentially address the needs better, which means I will potentially get more managed to manage. So understanding there's a critical success factor, a key thing you would like to focus on. And for every critical success factor, there might be 1 or 5 activities you're going to be doing to ensure you actually achieve that critical success factors. Again, my advice here from just personal experience, the less critical success factors there are, the higher the chance of you achieving those critical success factors. And you can be doing an amazing business plan, a proper understanding of your market, proper understanding of your business, of your company, write down the perfect SWOT and do the perfect critical success factors for your business. The fruit ultimately is in the way and the level that you execute these activities on a daily basis and actually measure them on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis with your team to ensure effective execution of every single activity. I've seen many business plans be written and that are absolutely perfect. But ultimately, if you cannot execute on the activities on the daily basis that you've set out, the chances of you achieving your critical success factors and strategic goals is almost never going to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, after my interruption, I would like to get to the end of my presentation and say, I actually would love to see the answers, which we're going to get in a moment, about what you thought is the one thing that's missing to fast track your growth. In our view, it is your property management business plan. So this is the guide of the construction of the kind of guide how to construct a business plan. In the next 3 sessions, Toby, Schalk, and Don is going to give you the key questions to properly analyze and ask the key questions that you have to answer to be able to write your perfect business plan. If, however, you can do this, I really believe you're setting yourself up for the perfect 2022, really fast tracking your growth and achieve what you want to achieve. And I want to ask you, please make the time to plan your success. Because if you do, maybe to have time will be your success. To that audience that said, I don't have time to write it, the reason why I believe you don't have time is you don't have a business plan, which means you are involved in every single segment of your business because it's not transparent for your whole team to follow your vision, to know precisely what your value is, to understand your business structure, to understand the strategic goals you want to achieve, and ultimately be aligned to deliver value to your clients on a daily basis consistently. So I think, please, by the time, I'm quite confident all of you have plans for December and have made the perfect holiday plans. I want to ask you, before you go and leave this year, make time to construct your perfect or ultimate property management business plan. And I believe that you will have time to work on your business and not in your business and ultimately fast track your growth in 2022.